Most of us here are adults, although sometimes I wonder what our kids are thinking when they watch the adults fighting about education. There are an awful lot of stakeholders, and I understand that. And we, the adults, are supposed to find a solution. And I know that everybody in this room, certainly Eli, Edie, the entire Broad organization is focused on just that. And we celebrate a partial solution today. And I would echo what Eli said in terms of recognizing progress, but certainly nowhere close to victory. I'd like to say to the winners, congratulations to the first 10 rows here, or 12 rows, whatever it was. It's just terrific to see so many who've worked so hard and also are recognized. It's the best investment we can make in America. Those of us who've had the fortune, the good fortune of a good education, still remember. I can remember my teachers down to the first and second grade. Dermot, who made a big difference. Francilia, who made a big difference. St. Audrey in the 8th grade. My high school teachers, Benignus, Navard, Marcel. Those individuals made a difference in my life that I didn't understand, but that I can remember fondly now, many decades later. That is still the case. So we've got to invest in our teachers, and it needs to be a job that is fun, inspiring, well compensated, rewarding. And those rewards include the kind of innovation, freedom, ingenuity, creativity that we need for this critical cadre in our country to move our country ahead. And we need to evaluate them fairly and reward the ones who succeed and make sure the ones that don't are no longer with us. I've had the great privilege in the last few weeks of teaching for the first time in a long time at Princeton. And it's 18 kids, and they're seniors, and they're looking at what they're going to do for the rest of their life, although they're very focused on saving the world, which is pretty inspirational. But not one of them, as I've talked to them and met them, not one of them has spoken about becoming a teacher. And we need to turn that around, not just there at an elite school like Princeton, but across the country. It cannot be a source or a choice of last resort. It needs to be a choice that is seen to make such a difference that our best and brightest are compelled to join. Clearly, in the stakeholder world, our parents have a great part to play here as well. As a Navy man, I moved around a lot over the years, and when we moved with our kids, the first thing we would focus on are the schools. And I would go, or Deb and I would go to the school to interview the superintendent to see if that was a terrific place for my two boys to be, after which we would make a decision on where we live. So the parents' piece and how we include that, and making sure, knowing that parents care immensely about the education system, about the education of their children. I will assume, because I don't know specifically, but that the first 10 rows here are filled with people who figured out how to focus on the kids, focus on the teachers, and figure out how to get to a solution that's going to make it different, no matter what part of the stakeholder world you were in. I'm delighted to see Corona Norco here, in particular because I'm originally from California, and it's a school system and a state, quite frankly, that I've been pretty worried about for a long period of time. And I remember what it was to be the product of a great school system a long time ago. In the future, should we measure? Yes. Should we hold people accountable? Absolutely. Should we give people choice? You bet. But we also, in the long run, must figure out a way to make our public school system succeed. We need to run to those systems, our public schools, not run from them. Lastly, we need to inspire our kids. We should be able to look at every single child and figure out how to inspire them in an area that they really can connect to. In the end, this needs to be all about our children. All about our children. I really want to say how much I admire what you've done. There's not a better, from my perspective, a better profession in the country, a better investment in our future than what you have dedicated your lives to, so that those we care so much about have a future that can make a difference for themselves, their families, our country, and indeed the world. There is no greater challenge, and I think there is no greater endeavor. So congratulations to the winner. To Eli and Edie, again, thank you for your leadership in this, for your persistence, and for your generosity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg. I'm thrilled to be back. To the mayor, to the admiral, to the Broad family, thank you so much for your extraordinary commitment. And this is some combination of being Santa Claus and Vanna White. I do this every single day. This is a lot of fun. And we heard some remarkable leaders speak, but I have to tell you what sort of blew me away was Katrina. And I think the challenge for us collectively is how we take these amazing individual success stories of perseverance and grit and determination and overcoming the odds and move from the individual to the collective. And while I'm so inspired by your story, I also worry about if you hadn't gotten into that better school, where would you be, and would you be in this room today? The answer is probably not. And what I respect so much about the districts here is what we have to do as a country is move from the individual to entire systems of excellence, not pockets of excellence, not islands of excellence, one phenomenal teacher, one great principal, saving one great student, but how do we collectively help every single child, rich, poor, black, white, Latino, two parents, not two parents, teenage mom, not teenage mom, how do we help every single child be successful? That's what our country needs. And the Admiral talked about the world has changed. We're in a globally competitive economy. And if you drop out of high school today, you're basically condemned to poverty and social failure. We have a 25% dropout rate right now in this country. That's 1 million young people, mostly of color, leaving our schools for our streets. There's nothing viable for them to do. We have to get better. We have to get better faster. And that's why I appreciate the Broad Prize so much. As you shine a spotlight on success, we have to do more to recognize success, celebrate success, but most importantly, replicate it, learn from it, and take to scale what is working. And these 4 districts set, I think, just extraordinary examples for all of us. Greg, you mentioned the bus tour, and it's an amazing tour, 12 states in about 10 days, and our team did over 150 events. So probably the one that hit me the hardest was Topeka, Kansas, and visiting the site of Brown versus Board. And everyone knows the history and the landmark civil rights case, Supreme Court, more than 5 decades ago. But that case was about our schools not being separate and unequal. But if we're honest with ourselves, how many systems have schools that are truly equal and that are not separate? We have a long, long way to go in our country. And if we're serious about closing the opportunity gap, we have to close what I call, if we're serious about closing the achievement gap, we have to close what I call the opportunity gap. These teams collectively are helping us close the opportunity gap. We as a country need to learn from that. Let me just tell you a little bit about each district. First, Corona Norco, big fan of the Admirals, is a first-time Broad finalist. Last year, achievement gaps in the district between the African American and white students in reading, math, and science were amongst the smallest in California. The district has worked to establish a collaborative team culture that puts the students first, even in the midst of California's brutal, brutal budget crunch. Teachers have time set aside each week to brainstorm with their colleagues about instructional strategies. And teachers hone their craft through 30 hours of professional development training each year. And the extraordinarily dedicated and hardworking teachers in Corona Norco took almost a 5% pay cut to protect programs that help children. I'd like that team to please stand, and let's give them all a round of applause. Houston won the first Broad Prize in 2002. Houston has increased the percentage of Hispanic and African American students taking college-ready exams more quickly than other school districts across the country. The district has required all schools, even the lowest performing schools, to dramatically increase their advanced placement course offerings. And through its novel Apollo 20 program, the district has successfully brought that same blend of data-driven instruction and increased instructional time to 20 of the district's lowest performing schools. Could the team from Houston please stand and give them a round of applause? Miami-Dade has been a Broad Prize finalist for, this is the 5th time. Last year, Miami-Dade students outperformed their peers in Florida in all comparisons at all school levels, in reading and math and science, and at the same time that the district has promoted the education of the whole child. The district has also provided extra resources and support for low-achieving schools to help them turn around, and President Obama visited one of those schools, Central High School, and was really moved by what we saw there. Data is at the center of all conversations in Miami-Dade as the district works to improve results across the board. Teachers there have regular data chats with students. And I don't know if I was a student whether I would have liked a data chat with my teachers, but I think it's absolutely the right direction to go. In Miami-Dade, educators know that data can be a blessing and not a burden, and that it can help personalize learning and drive instructional improvement. Could I ask the team from Miami-Dade to please stand and give them a round of applause? Palm Beach County in Florida has a higher graduation rate than almost any other urban school district around the country, and greater increases for Black and Latino students. The district recognizes graduation as the crown jewel of public schooling, and it has deployed graduation gatekeepers to make sure high school students stay on track and get that diploma. From 2006 to 2009, Palm Beach County's overall graduation rates jumped a remarkable 18 percentage points. Please stand. Let's give that team a round of applause. And again, I just want to congratulate all of the finalists. You guys are all absolutely winners, and you are helping lead the country where we need to go. The official Broad Prize sculpture resides at our U.S. Department of Education. And I'm thrilled to be here for the 4th time in a row. Now comes the good part. I know you've been waiting long enough. Is there an envelope from somewhere? That would have been a bad miss if there was an envelope. And the winner of the 2012 Broad Prize, the Miami-Dade County Public Schools.
We are no longer the Susan Lucci of public education. First, I want to congratulate the other 3 remarkable districts who are transforming their communities through the power of education, and in the process, providing America scalable, replicable success stories. Most importantly, I want to thank the most powerful, dedicated, smartest workforce in America, Miami-Dade County Public Schools teachers, principals, and the board that leads this great institution. To the chair of the board, to the board itself, I want to say thank you. We have a large contingent here. I know Miami-Dade right now is dancing to the beat of salsa. They are celebrating as if it was carnival right now. But today marks an important day, not only for Miami-Dade, but for our nation. 15 years from now or less, the face of America will be Miami-Dade. Cracking the code today in Miami-Dade is serving as inspiration and a model for success for countless children who are expecting something better than in many schools across America they're getting right now. If we are to be, once again, the nation of innovation, if we are to bequeath to the generation who will follow us a quality of life superior to the one that we inherited ourselves, then it is our moral obligation to do our very best by elevating the quality of education in our schools and once again regaining the trust of our communities. We've done it in Miami-Dade against all odds, in the middle of an economic recession, the likes of which none of us had lived through. We embraced those challenges. We leveraged those challenges. Never once did we lay off a single teacher for economic reasons or shut down a school program because of economic conditions. We forced, in the hardest of times, the budget to adapt to our values and principles rather than the other way around. We have made it. And as we've done so, we expect America to follow suit, for this is the nation of innovation. I want to thank the most remarkable couple that I've ever met. The Chief Innovation Officer, Edith Broad, and somebody who I look up to, not only for his business ingenuity, but your remarkable passion for America's children. Through your dedication, your perseverance, your courage, and your funding generosity, the dream is becoming alive. It is being fulfilled, and it is being delivered to America's children every single day. On behalf of 400,000 children, on behalf of 23,000 teachers, on behalf of a grateful and leading school board, and on behalf of dedicated principals and support staff, I want to thank the Broad Foundation, and I want to thank America for everything it stands. Miracles are possible, even when you have to wait 5 years. Thank you, and God bless all of you.